I'm going to be talking to you guys today about one of my heroes of the Bible, and that is Peter, the disciple Peter. Pretty cool dude. There's all kinds of cool dudes in the Bible, but this guy, this disciple in particular, man, he shows up everywhere, especially in Jesus's ministry. Um, One thing we know about Peter is that the Bible tells us that he was a fisherman. Before Jesus ever showed up in his life, he was a fisherman. In Luke chapter 5, you can find that out about Peter. We also know that Peter was a married guy. So I'm a married guy, and I can completely relate, I think, with this guy. And we know that he was married because Jesus goes and he heals Peter's mother-in-law in Luke chapter 4. Peter's also the guy that sees Jesus walking on the water and he says, "Lord, if it's you, command me to come out to you." And Jesus says, "Come." And Peter gets out of the boat and walks on the water. He's one of the only disciples that can say, "I walked on the water." Peter also did all kinds of other stuff. He was always kind of the guy to rush into things, always kind of speak pretty quickly. But like I said, he was a fisherman, so it was kind of, rough and stuff. Peter shows up everywhere, and I really like how he is. I can totally relate with Peter on so many issues with just who he is and his personality. But today I want to focus on one story in Peter's life during the ministry of Jesus that really affects me the most. And it's a story that happens kind of later towards the end of Jesus' ministry. And I'm going to be reading today in Matthew chapter 26. And I'm going to start right in verse 31. Okay? Matthew chapter 26, verse 31. It says, "Then Jesus said to them, 'You will all fall away because of me this night. For it is written, I will strike down the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock shall be scattered. But after I have been raised, I will go ahead of you to Galilee.' But Peter," here's our guy, "but Peter said to him, 'Even though all may fall away because of you, I will never fall away.' And Jesus said to him, he said to Peter, 'Truly I say to you, that this very night, before a rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times.'" Guys, just so we're clear, the word deny means to say you don't know somebody. Like if you were at school and somebody denies that they know you, but yet you were just hanging out with them all weekend, that's what that looks like. That's what that word is. Like they don't know you. They've never seen you before. They're denying you. And so Jesus says to Peter, "You're going to deny me before the rooster crows." And Peter says back to Jesus in verse 35, "Even if I have to die with you, I will not deny you." All the disciples said the same thing too. Okay, so now we're going to fast forward in the same chapter, chapter 26. And here's the story. Chapter 26, verse 69. "Now Peter was sitting outside in the courtyard, and a servant girl came to him and said, 'You too were with Jesus, the Galilean.' But he, Peter, denied it before them all, saying, 'I do not know what you're talking about.' When he had gone out to the gateway, another servant girl saw him and said to those who were there, 'This man was with Jesus of Nazareth.' And again he denied it with an oath, 'I do not know the man.' A little later, the bystander came up and said to Peter, 'Surely you too are one of them, for even the way you talk gives you away.' Then he began to curse and swear, 'I do not know the man.' And immediately a rooster crowed. And Peter remembered the word which Jesus had said, "Before a rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times." And he went out and wept bitterly. Guys, I don't know about you, but I've definitely been Peter a lot in my life. I've been so strong and so stoked about who Jesus is, and will tell everybody else that I want to tell the world about Jesus and stand up for Jesus. And then when I go about my day, sometimes just the way that I act or even just the words that I say, I kind of deny Jesus. It's kind of like with my life, I kind of seem like as though I've never met Jesus or I don't know him. And Peter, when he finally realizes that he has done exactly what Jesus said he was going to do, he was going to deny him. Peter, the Bible is very clear. It doesn't say that Peter got mad at himself or he went out and, tried to get rid of those feelings by hanging out with some other friends or acting like it never happened. The Bible's very clear that when Peter realized that he had denied Jesus, he wept. He wept, meaning he cried. And the Bible says that he cried bitterly. He cried like intense. Like he was very, very sad. He was very, very messed up. And like I said, I can relate to that. But I love how this hero, Peter, has remorse. He feels bad about what he's done. And the coolest thing is that even after denying Jesus, Jesus forgives Peter. See, when Peter denied Jesus, Jesus still went to the cross for Peter. Just like Jesus still went to the cross for you and for me. Before this ever happens, this is really cool, you have to know this. Jesus changed Peter's name. Peter wasn't Peter, he was Simon. He was known as Simon. And Jesus one day looks at Simon and then says, "Simon, your name is going to be Peter." Peter comes from the name Petra, which basically means rock. And Jesus says to him, "You're going to be my rock." And this is before Peter denies him or does anything else. Jesus already sees something in Peter that Peter didn't see in himself. And when Peter finally, after denying Jesus, repents, when he says that he's sorry, when he cries because he knows that he did wrong, and he admits that he's done wrong, and Jesus forgives him, the coolest thing about it is that Jesus then uses Peter to really be this rock of a man. In fact, Peter becomes the rock of the church. If you read it, in the book of Acts, the Acts of all Jesus' disciples and the apostles, you will see Peter being a guy that is so real and so on fire for Jesus, and no longer in a place where he may waver or deny Jesus anymore, but he is strong for Jesus. It's okay, guys, to realize that maybe in our lives, our personal time, we have denied Jesus with the way that we've acted towards somebody else, or the words that we've said, or just maybe even on, hanging out on a video game or doing something on some type of social media, whether you have Facebook or Instagram or you're TikToking, and no one can really tell that you know Jesus. Peter's examples to us is that, man, we need to realize that in that we've denied him, and that we need to repent. We need to be sorry, and then we need to come back and we need to be strong for Jesus, ready to be used by Jesus in an awesome way. Guys, I don't know what you're going through today or this evening whenever you watch this, but I hope that really helps you, because it helps me when I think about the Apostle Peter and just how much God was still able to use Peter. Even though Peter was, for lack of a better term, big, screw up. I relate because I'm that same way. Guys, I'm so glad that we've had time to chill and just read about Peter. And hope to see you guys so soon at church.